What's up, buddy? How are you? How was your weekend? Busy, busy. What did we do Sunday, April? Anything? Oh, April wasn't feeling the best, but other than that, back at it. Right. April, going live. April. Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you're doing well on a Saturday afternoon. You're listening to Real Estate with Ryan. I'm your host, Ryan Coleman with Hometown Realty, and my lovely co-host is in the building, April Coleman.
Hello, everyone.
She doesn't sound as peppy today. I think she's battling those allergies and seasonal stuff. I think you had some migraines.
Yeah.
Oh no, just that season with the weather and everything going on. Hope you guys are doing awesome today. Glad to be with you on a Saturday. We've got a good show. You know, Veterans Day is coming up, and we wanted to talk about the veterans. They do so much for our country, give so much back. I mean, they're protecting our borders, they're doing everything, and the least we can do is talk about them on Veterans Day, and any tips that we can give them if they're in the possibility of purchasing a home, selling a home, refinancing a home. So our show today is dedicated to the veterans that serve us and has done so much for this country. So Real Estate with Ryan is going to be a little bit of time for the veterans and just talk about those issues that may come up if you're buying or moving. Being in the service, you understand that you could get your orders very, very quickly and be across state. So it's important to know if you're putting your home on the market, what you need to do, if you're purchasing, and how to make all that work. We've got some housekeeping issues and some different things that we're talking about. Before we start the show, what's on your mind, April? Any news around town or locally with us?
Yeah, we have some new listings that are going to hit the market, and some congratulations to some of our clients. We do have a listing out in Sequoia on Arrowhead Way that's coming. It's a $1.8 million estate. And then we have a listing on Thimblefields. Stay tuned for that. And on Spring Hill Drive in Sevierville, cute little house out there. And also another one coming soon in Miller's Landing. So if any of those areas sound like that is an area you want to be in, then contact us for more information. Also, Mill Chase and Brantley are going to close this week, so congratulations to them. And then hopefully we've got other offers that's coming in. Hopefully we can get them all worked out. We'll have some new pendings on board.
And we just got news today on one of our biggest estates out in Lowe's Ferry that is now going pending.
Oh, it is?
Yep. You didn't even know, did you?
I didn't even know.
So that now is pending, Lowe's Ferry, $1.6 million out in Blount County. So congratulations to the seller on that. I know he's had it on the market for several years with other agents, and we're glad to actually put that under contract as of today. So that's pretty exciting news. I know he's super excited.
Yeah, definitely.
So as we battle with April under the weather here and kind of working through all these allergies and things like that, so we'll talk about our veterans and that process. So where do you start in the process? You know, you're thinking about selling, or you get your orders and you need to move. Hopefully we'll come through some of the tips. Maybe even you're not a veteran, but you're selling your home as well. We'll hopefully cover some of those items as well that get into the aspect of what you're going to deal with if you do a VA loan. We're working on one just on the weekend, and what a VA loan or VA buyer brings to the table. And not only purchase-wise, cost-wise, but also into the inspection and the appraisal, how that differs between a conventional and FHA loan. So those are good. I think, 10 things that the borrowers maybe you do know or don't know, but we want to definitely cover kind of how VA loans work in a whole. So VA loans, just like any other government loan, like our FHA loan, it's insured by the government. So that what that means, if for some reason that the lender makes the loan on the institution and the borrower doesn't make the payments, the government's going to back it.
Mm-hmm.
So if they default or have any issues, the FHA and VA loans are insured by the government. That makes it such a easy underwrite for the lenders,
Mm-hmm.
because they're 100% guaranteed. Now with that, you have something called mortgage insurance. Mortgage insurance on FHA or conventionals are paid in your payment. They do something in VAs called a funding fee, and that's added to the sales price. So it's the funding fee, let's say round numbers, your house is $100,000, then you have a funding fee, and that could range and varies somewhere about 3.5% of the sales price.
Okay.
Not a lender, guys, but I think that that's pretty close.
So you don't pay mortgage insurance?
It's a funding fee.
Okay.
It's added on top of the sales price.
Mm-hmm.
Now our lender that we work with, Chris, over at Gateway, really raves about the VA loan and how much that this is really, if you had to get a loan in the marketplace, if you were getting financing and you're a veteran and you qualify, it's the best loan out there.
Yes.
Well, why not? And the veterans deserve the best.
Right,
You know,
exactly.
and so really, we get so busy in the real estate market just kind of doing it and doing loans, and you don't really know the aspects of it unless you're a veteran.
Mm-hmm.
And we spent some time with Chris over there, and he just really spent some time showing the difference on one of the shows that we were doing, and really informative about that process. And I don't think most people understand that if you have VA eligibility and it's not tied up on another property, you definitely want to use it because it's going to save you money in the long term.
Right.
The biggest thing, whether you're buying military or not, is get pre-approved.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that are probably overlooked the most when you're moving, and whether you're going online or doing a local move here with your lender and establishing that relationship, is you got to have all your paperwork in.
Mm-hmm.
And just because you're in the military, not every branch is going to be eligible for a VA. Our reserves are not eligible for VA loans, and there's some other guidelines along with that. So just because you have that service, there's certain restrictions, and so that makes it challenging.
Okay.
So make sure you know that before we pack up our family and move across to Texas and things like that. So getting pre-approved.
Definitely.
There's something called your DD2 14s,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a certificate of eligibility. It's the first thing that you want to get. It probably is the most thing that you're overlooked when kind of moving and relocating, and it is something that we have to go to the VA and get it.
Okay.
It could really delay the process.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's really important, and that's why I said even if you think that there's a possibility you may get deployment or get issues to be sent out, definitely reach to your lender. Doesn't mean you need to pull your credit. Doesn't mean you need to go to that full-blown process. But if you contact us, we'll give you a checklist. You could email us or whatever you need to do offline, and we can give you that VA checklist that's very beneficial. So if you do move, you have a structured schedule, you can execute that plan, and there's no surprises.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously the appraisal, let's talk about the appraisal and underwriting and the process on that. If you're thinking about getting a VA loan or maybe accepting a contract on a VA loan and you're selling the home, the credit restrictions are very more lenient. They do allow for past, whether it's bankruptcies, foreclosures, things like that have been old mistakes or things that have happened. They're very forgiving on that. Their credit scores are very open, so
That's good.
they'll go somewhere from 580 on up. Really, technically, VA loans don't have a credit score.
Okay.
What you'll find is a lot of the lenders called something called overlays. Overlays are basically additional requirements that the lenders put on the loan if they're going to, insure it.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the biggest challenge. And we work with Gateway and Chris, and why we love them is they don't have any major overlays. I don't think they have any overlays.
Wow.
They traditionally write to the VA guidelines, which is, we always say on this show, it's always about, getting the right agent. It's always about who you know,
Mm-hmm.
and that opportunity of knowing the right person in the right context can really open up what you need to do. Well, if you're purchasing and for some reason that maybe your score's not there where you need to be exactly, or you've got an old collection or old divorce or something that's lingering, in today's society the rates is really driven to price off rates, and you really need a lender that's going to work outside the box, or an agent that will partner you with the right lender that you can get that loan and save a lot of money. So underwriting to VA guidelines with no overlays is a big deal. I don't think most people really understand that. It's not talked about,
Right.
You know, if you call your bigger banks in town, and they just kind of give you the spiel and, oh, what's this rate, that, but nobody will get into the overlays. And those overlays, after helping hundreds of people with VA loans, is a big deal. You know, it's a big deal. Some people don't have, you know, a lot of debt, or it's not a collection. It's just they don't have a lot of debt, so their FICO score is not that high, and so therefore they don't borrow a lot of money, so their credit score is not high. But when they get deployment issues and they need to purchase or they need to sell their home, that's when it becomes a big issue. So we fight really, really hard for our veterans. We have some great people that really help us with that process. Keep in mind to know about the VA loans that they are reusable. So there's a certain amount of eligibility that they're going to give you. And understand that April and I were talking about this versus FHA, right? FHA is property based, right? So that the property, if I moved into a property FHA, as we're coming on this break, that property could stay FHA for a while. With VA, it's property specific. So, you know, I'd have to sell that property or refinance it to get out of it. You're listening to Real Estate with Ryan. Stay with us on the break. We're going to talk more about VA loans, if you're selling, all the things that come up with the veteran, if you're getting relocation, right here on Real Estate with Ryan. You guys stay tuned. And thank you guys for staying tuned on Facebook, social media, wherever you guys are watching us out there. We're talking about our veterans. They do so much for our country. I mean, they put it on the line for us, and the least we could do is have a show to talk about veterans, all that goes on involved into the real estate market and helping a veteran buy and sell and moving across country. It can be very scary. And, you know, with so much going on with kids and everything that's involved, you need somebody you can trust. You need somebody that's been there and done that. I know we've talked about it, but I'm originally from an area that has a large military base in Fort Lee, Virginia, big military base. So we worked with a lot of veterans and continually do. So if you got questions, you got anything that we can answer for you on a big move, getting relocated in the area, we'd be more than willing to help you guys on such a big purchase. Thank you guys for watching us. If you're streaming, you know, tomorrow's a big giveaway. Tickets, Kentucky. I'm not sure what time we'll do tomorrow, but we still have tickets on Instagram, 50-yard line. We're giving them away to the Kentucky game. Instagram only. You got to like the page. It's Ryan Coleman, CEO. It's easy, man. Just follow in. A bunch of people on there. Somebody's going to the game on us. I'm working on April to see if we can go, but definitely you're going. So like the page, follow the page, and keep your notifications on for tomorrow, because those tickets, we're going to give them away. Hope you guys are having an awesome Monday. If you can't do it, just hang in. Thank you guys for coming back. We were talking about VA loans, and we were chatting a little bit about that process and really talking about if you have the eligibility, if you have your home tied up with the VA eligibility and what that details. So unlike some other loans that are out there with the FHA, you can purchase a home with an FHA product, and if for some reason you get transferred or want to turn it into a rental property, there's no problem with that. And you don't have to refinance out of it. You just got to live there as your primary residence. With VA, you can rent it out. That's okay if you live there as your primary residence for a while, but ultimately it is tied to that property. So, example, we have a home here in Knoxville. The house is $300,000. We've got our eligibility tied up. I'm purchasing in Texas. The market's a lot more expensive. It's fluent, and I need to use my VA eligibility. I don't have a lot of equity in my home, but so I need to use 100% financing. I think that's the biggest thing that we don't talk about, and you may already know, but it's 100% financing. There are some costs involved, but it's closing costs, funding fees, and things like that. So we have a way to be able to make that very affordable for the buyer, especially the veteran, and limit their cash out of pocket. So that being said, a lot of times we can get veterans in with just a couple $100 or a couple $1,000 down. And that comes in by allowing the seller to pay closing costs or structuring an offer that makes sense so that some of those fees are limited. But going back to that property that we're selling, if we go to Texas and we don't have our home sold here in Knoxville, we can't use our VA eligibility. And I don't think some people really understand that. and the timing from purchasing and selling on the same day is very, very restrictive. And so it really makes a big difference on working with a lender that understands the veteran process, that's been there and done it, and then an agent to guide you through that process. So, essentially our home in Knoxville will sell, our new one in Texas, all that would happen within the same couple of days, but we have to unleash our eligibility for the veterans. And so if you try to do it for sale by owner, or if you try to do some things where you don't have somebody, it can be a real nightmare. You could find yourself in a hotel or temporary housing by not having that structured the right way. So I think that's one of the biggest things for the veterans is keep in mind that you're getting orders, you're getting, to move out very, very quickly. Things are moving. Link with an agent that understands the market and a lender that can cover the whole U.S. and can put you in a position that this is one less thing that you have to deal with. I mean, it's the last thing that you want to deal with is the stressful move and the loan and this home and that home. But good thing here, Ryan and myself, I call myself Ryan.
You are right.
Third party, that is me. But here at Hometown Realty, we specialize in helping you guys, and April and myself will be glad to help you with that process. So one thing I want to talk about regarding that, certain types of homes that are available for your VA loan, they are open for basically single family, condo, and some multifamily is okay. Some modular housing is okay. It just really depends on the condition. The biggest thing is it has to be owner occupied. VAs are only owner occupied. So guys, if you're trying to get an investment, you can't use your VA eligibility.
True.
Now, one thing April and I were talking about on our other show that we had, and we carried this over on Saturday's show, we talked about one of the biggest things that most people don't think of, right? So we had this come up with a client before that towards the end of last year, right about this time, right? And we sold their house, and the buyer actually was coming in from New York on a transfer. And when you get to the closing table, they're not going to tell you all this. As a lender, you're going to think, okay, I'm shopping rate, term, what's my payment, how much cash I need, really? These are things you're not thinking about. Well, you're being deployed. It's the holiday time. It's right here in the fall season. You got Thanksgiving and Christmas right around the corner. So logic says, well, we have housing allowance and all those other different things that we'll go ahead and we'll close by the end of the year. Payment's not going to be due until January, and we'll just move in then. Well, the lenders have something on VA loans that require that you to occupy the property within the first, I believe, 45 days. They may stretch it to 60, but I think it's 45 days. Well, in this particular situation, to close this deal, they were not moving in for 45. They make you sign an affidavit. So basically, you commit loan fraud if you don't do what you say you're going to do. So it's very sticky. So we're within the last week or two before closing. Think about it. They have their family for Christmas and holidays. He still had to be there in New York.
Wow.
And so was she going to move down here for Christmas and Thanksgiving?
By herself?
By herself?
Wow.
I mean, I wouldn't want that, right? You don't think of that, but these are things that we're coming across during the holidays, and you have to make sure you're structured for that. VA will not waive that eligibility. There is no issues with. I mean, there's no excuses. No maybe this. No, it's cut and dry.
Wow.
And I'm not sure why that they've changed that guideline. Maybe for the issue of claims and insurance, or for whatever reason. But that's a guideline that you wouldn't think about. So make sure that if you're moving in, that somebody, one of your spouse or you, will need to occupy that property within the first 45 days.
True.
So it's something we don't think about, but you got your house on the market and that's not going to happen. And we're expected to close here right before Christmas. They may get it pushed out till January, end of January.
Wow.
Especially if his deployment, is not going to come in at that time. So things you don't think of. And I know I'm going longer here. April's not feeling the best, so she's hanging with us here on the radio. So I'm going to carry some weight here.
I know.
That's okay. My wife says, listen, she said, you always like to talk, so just keep talking.
That's right. I came for support today.
Support is what teamwork. I said, teamwork to make the dream work, right?
That's right.
We talked about the guarantee by the government, and we talked about the credit qualifications. There are some limits on co-borrowers, and there is some limits in the marketplace in a whole. There is a sales price, they bumped them up. So if you're over about 424, 425, then you can't go any higher with the VA eligibility. You would have to come out of pocket and pay cash for the difference if you go above those. Now let's talk about our disabled veterans and all that they do. There is some consideration there. In the VA has set up that they've waived the funding fee for some of our disabled veterans. So that's a very good possibility that that the VA is doing. And kind of an example, if a buyer is purchasing a $200,000 home with a VA loan and they qualify, the funding fee of 2.15 would probably be waived. So there's a savings of $4,300 to do that. No, it's no question. It's 100%, and that's why we love our VA loans and our veterans and all that they do.
Yeah, and I think they also, in that article, just when I was reading before, I think it said that if you were not receiving your disability from the VA, and then they can go back if you get your VA loan and you have to pay that fee, and then you get your disability, they can go back and refund you that fee that they had charged you before. So.
Now sellers on the market, let's talk about sellers. If you're selling your home on VA, you've got your veteran that's coming across in that price range of $425 and under, maybe even higher, but I think that's probably where you see basically $500,000 and under. You're going to see the VA loan. What does that mean for you if you're selling to a veteran? Is that good, bad, or indifferent? I think the first thing is you need a great agent that make sure that when we have done a walkthrough on your property and understand about your property, that you know whether it's going to pass a VA or FHA loan. Right. And because the appraisal requirements and everything that goes on to it. So basically, it's not the bank, it's not the inspector, it's the VA eligibility. And the reason that they're so strict is because it's 100% financing. Essentially there's no money out of pocket, and the VA wants to make sure that we don't have lead-based paint issues or leaky roofs or HVACs that are not working or foundation. All these things would be normal, but they're a little bit more in detail and more in depth when they go through the process. So keep that in mind when you do the VA loan. They're very strict on appraisal. Obviously they're loaning 100%. Does that mean that you're getting a bad appraisal? No. But the VA appraisers, not only do they take longer to get out there and do the appraisal, I find them more conservative on the appraisal values than some of the conventionals. So you've got that seller that's for sale by owner or has had it on the market a while and they want to squeak every dollar out of it. Just know we may run into some appraisal issues. And that's why it's important. We just went through a deal here as we're coming close to break. Had an appraisal issue. Seller wanted to price it too much higher, and we battled for a week to get them $15,000 where the appraisal came in. So keep in mind, we're seeing that as a change on the market, that appraisals are coming back and they're not getting the prices because the market is changing some. So we have to be realistic on that. Every week, every Saturday, News Talk 98.7. You're listening to Real Estate with Ryan. We try to give you the up-to-date information on the market. Hope you've enjoyed the show. If you need us, 693-SOLD, or visit me on ryancoleman.org. Hope you guys have a wonderful weekend, and see you next week. Well, thank you guys for staying with us. That's recorded in the show. It seems like we do these shows all the time, twice a week. Videos, news, information. Listen, we're always trying to give you content. We're always trying to get you to know us. We hope, like the people that we sold these customers' lovely home, like the gentleman that had the estate for 1.6 that 3 years he was talking about. 3 years other agents have had it. Big name agents, and we sell luxury homes. He said, Ryan, I've never had more people come through in just a week than the other guys below. He said, look at that brochure, look at the marketing. This is what we do, guys. We're trying to tell you, this is what we do. We're committed to you guys. It's always about you. That's how we build our business at Hometown Realty. We're not a big name. We're not a big franchise. We don't care about the big awards and plaques. It's always about you guys. Giving back, 110% effort. When you get us, we're going to come out there and put the work in. So I appreciate the effort. I appreciate the feedback from our clients. That kind of inspires us on a day like today where April's feeling down and we just had a client in Sequoia goes, Ryan, these flyers are awesome. This is great. That's the type of service that we want to provide. That's the type of level of commitment we have to you guys 7 days a week. We're here for you. My team, the office of Hometown Realty, they really care. There's some great guys there. They're committed to helping you guys. So you guys listen to this on replay or hearing us live on Facebook or Instagram or wherever else we're at. Take a minute, pass it, share it to a friend, man. Let us know. Anybody's thinking about buying or selling, I know we're coming up on the end of the year. Holiday time is out. You know anybody that's thinking about getting transferred? Give us a call. The first part of the year you think about putting your home on the market? Give us a call. We'd love to help. Never an obligation, right? Conversation's free. Opportunity's everything, and we'd love to get to meet you. Hope you guys are having an awesome week. Go Vols. Kentucky game. If this is being recorded, somebody's going to Kentucky game tomorrow. Tickets are being given away. I think we're going to the Kentucky game. She doesn't know, but that's the plan. I'm going to bring my daughter, and we're going to do a little information. We're going to do a little blog. We're going to do a little what it's like to be a Vol and do a little tailgating and spend time at one of the great places that we love, and one of the opportunities to go to the Vol game is some of the reasons I'm here. So thank you guys so much. Hope you have an awesome week, and we're out.